Hey guys, this video features 3 Pokemon Go stories. This app is totally blowing up right now, so I figured, hey, why not jump on board, share some good stories. So sit back, relax, catch 'em all. Number 1. My girlfriend and I started heading towards the gym at 9 p.m. Not the Pokemon gym, the actual gym. We have a routine walk of going through town to the gym every night. It's about a 1.5-mile walk. So on the way we decided to play Pokemon Go, of course. My brother's friend was supposed to meet us in town, but we waited for him for 15 minutes and decided to go on without him. This was a mistake. We were walking on the right side of the road on the sidewalk when I turned around to notice a man in a blue shirt, a bald head, and a leather jacket. It was a bit confusing considering it was the middle of July and still about 80 degrees even at night. I decided to stop and let him pass nonchalantly, as if we were catching Pokemon. As he passed, I made sure to get a good look at his face. He was about 5'6", a bald head, and he was very sweaty on his forehead, as if he were nervous. After he passed us, we followed him. We wanted to make sure he didn't have an advantage over us, in case he wanted to assault or capture us somehow. Right as he noticed that we were behind him, he quickly looked into a shop window so we would pass him. I decided to put the theory to test and see if he started following us after we passed. Sure enough, he did. As soon as we passed him, he started following us very closely. I quickly pulled my girlfriend over to the other side of the street. In my town, Team Mystic is out at night in big groups. We rushed to a nearby group in front of the courthouse and attempted to assimilate ourselves. After waiting for about 5 minutes, we looked down the road to see if he was still on our tail. He stood about half a block down the street and was waiting. In disbelief, we waited longer only to see him step out into the street and lean around the crowd to look right at us. I decided to take my girlfriend and I further down the road closer to the gym. For a while, we felt like we were home free. We got to the gym and worked out for what I think was less than half hour, considering how mentally exhausted we were after trying to get away from this dude. We decided to go to the shop right next door to the gym to get some snacks, and as we did this, I called my mom telling her all the details. I don't have a car, so she offered to pick us up. Once we bought our snacks, my girlfriend and I stepped outside to wait for my mom. Right as we left the outside of the store, the guy following us standing right next to the door with his shirt off. He was covered in prison tattoos, which is possibly why he was wearing the jacket in the middle of summer. He was there with 3 other people, so he didn't see us. We quickly sprinted to my mom's car once she arrived, told her all the details. Thankfully, we got out of it alive. Number 2. So it was about 6 a.m., and I decided that I wanted to play Pokemon Go. So I left my house at about 6:30 a.m. and was out until 7:30 a.m. Only a minute into my walk, I came to the end of my street, and I decided to go left. For a bit of knowledge, left on my street leads about 5 to 6 churches along the way, and each of these churches are Pokestops and gyms, which is why I chose that way to go. Either way, the first of those churches is a Middle Eastern church. So I was walking on the sidewalk on the opposite side of the street from these churches. As I was walking, I glanced up to see a red minivan slowing down as it neared this church, and it looked like a minivan that a girl who lived in my street owned. I thought it might have been her and she was playing Go as well, so I decided to cross the street there to see if I could talk to her. This was my first mistake. As soon as I got across the street, the minivan turned on the hazard lights. This confused me, but I kept walking, just a bit slower. Then this car turned into the parking lot of the church, and I kept an eye on the driver's side window, and I saw an older male Middle Eastern guy. As a normal rational person, I figured this man was coming to practice his religion. I honestly had no clue. So I kept walking, still cautious. At this point, I paused to play the game. I quickly gathered the Pokestop stuff and kept watching as this man turned the car around and left without getting out or anything. At this point, I was like, okay, what the fuck is this guy doing? And then he pulled out of the parking lot and went down a street. Now, this wouldn't be creepy if there was something on that street. There are a few houses, but that's it. So I was still cautious as he came down the street from the other way. I kept walking for a little bit until I saw that his car was sitting turned on still and only a few feet in front of the sidewalk. It was close enough to the sidewalk that if I had kept walking, someone could have gotten out and grabbed me and drove away without a problem, and that's what really made me worry the most. As soon as I saw this, my brain went into, nope, fuck that shit, we're not going over there. So I turned and looked at my phone again, walking away from the car, about 30-ish feet away. I then walked across the street as I was looking in the way of this man's car, and I was watching. I couldn't see him at all, but the car was there, so I just kept walking quickly. I occasionally glanced back at the car over the next few minutes of my walk, and I watched the car drive away down the street again. I'm not sure if this was a trap and they gave up or someone fell into it, or maybe it wasn't. But shady Middle Eastern guy, let's never meet. Number 3. Oh my God, dude. Something weird happened to me tonight at work, about 9:30 p.m. So I'm a 27-year-old male who works in a rather unsafe city, filled with constant crime rates in California. So I was patrolling the parking lot like my usual entails, and I noticed 2 guys in their late 20s, just wandering around, seeming like they were taking pictures of the car's license plates. This all took place in the car parking lot. They were taking pictures of the car's license plates in my parking lot with their phones. So I call out to them asking, "What are you doing?" And one guy answers, "Oh, I'm waiting for somebody," points to the building. He is obviously lying because there are only cleaning ladies here at this time, as the building is closed after hours. So I walk closer and ask, "Who are you waiting for?" He doesn't answer me, so I ask again. Then the other guy begins chuckling awkwardly, then starts walking toward me with his phone screen pointed in my direction. Both of these guys look like they work out quite a bit and are dressed in gym clothes, but look well groomed. I start to get a little nervous and consider turning back, but I don't because I don't want them to realize I'm nervous and then take advantage of that in some way. So I ask again, "What are you doing?" He then asked me if I've heard of Pokemon Go, and I said sure, even though I was not sure. He then explains that he's playing the game, and there are Pokemon in the hospital parking lot where I work. Then I remember reading about the game sometime before, and see Pokemon on his phone screen. I guess the other guy was too embarrassed to admit he was playing Pokemon, so that's why he told me he was waiting for someone. I was totally relieved and said that I was a major Pokemon fan before, but told them not to take pictures in our parking lot because the female cleaning crews get nervous and won't like seeing that. They said they understood completely and left, but the situation had me nervous for a minute, considering 2 guys were approaching me in the darkness, in an isolated parking lot, and were chuckling and not answering me at first. So that's how I was informed about the news of Pokemon Go game, getting a live feature update. Awesome way to find out. Thanks.